Hi everyone. As we all know, more and more people are starting to say that they are skeptical of science, by which they mean they blindly reject it without even considering it. Because in every single case, that's a conspiracy. Scientists are just lying to you, and stuff like that. Of course, I'm talking about flat earthers and anti-vaxxers, people like that. And if you're one of these people who think that scientists are lying to you, I have some questions for you that I hope you can actually answer, because I'm genuinely interested in hearing how you guys make sense of these things. It's kind of important. 1. Do you believe that anyone can study science at a college or university? Or do you need some kind of security clearance to be allowed in? Now, 2, if anyone can do this, what is taught at the university? Is it the truth or is it the lie? Because if it's the lie, then why would they hire these people later on as scientists to maintain the conspiracy and all that stuff? Because these are the people who are hired by the big evil greedy corporations to do useful stuff, right? What use do they have of them? No, they must obviously be taught the truth, but if they are taught the truth at universities and then also told some sort of cover story, then how is the conspiracy maintained unless security clearance is required in order to get in the first place? I don't get it. 3. If security clearance is required in order to study science, which I think, well, that would have to be the case, where are all the people who applied to an education like this, meeting all the official requirements, but still didn't get in? Where are they? 4. Again, if security clearance is required, how do you get security clearance straight out of high school? I studied science. How did I get in? How do you think I got in? How do you think I got my security clearance straight out of high school? 5. How do you explain the fact that science education from day one includes experimental work that actually shows that science works? The stuff that you are denying is actually true. That's what you see when you do the experimental work. How is it that the conspirators are faking these experiments that the students themselves are setting up and performing on their own? How does that work? 6. If scientists reject all new ideas because they need to maintain the status quo, they need to maintain the conspiracy, then how do you explain the fact that every month there are thousands of articles published in peer-reviewed journals all over the world that move science forward? 7. If all these new discoveries are actually lies told to give the impression that science is moving forward, then how do you explain the fact that technology moves forward as new scientific discoveries are made? Or are you saying that they knew how to make smartphones 100 years ago, they just kept it secret for some reason? 8. How is it that you can determine that this natural law found in all the textbooks is a lie, but this other one isn't? Wouldn't you sort of need to understand context and actually, be able to do the math on it and perform the experiments and so on to be able to make that determination? Don't you think scientists would be better qualified to do that, or at least people with a scientific education like myself? What makes you such an expert that you can see through this whole thing by just, opening your eyes? The standard response to this question that I want to shoot down right away is, well, if you're not part of it, you're thinking outside the box. Okay, sure. But then let me ask you this. How many absolute beginners have beaten chess masters at chess? Well, I'm thinking outside the box. Well, yeah, but that's not going to help you. You still need to know what you're talking about in order to be able to analyze anything. And you still need to know a thing or two about chess to be able to stand a chance against a chess master. 9. If most people who go into science are simply duped, then where are all the whistleblowers? I mean, at some point, wouldn't most science students who go in to actually learn the science that they're expecting to learn, and then they're told the truth that the Earth is 6,000 years old and flat, and vaccines are poisons, all that stuff. Wouldn't they get kind of disappointed and feel kind of betrayed and drop out? Now, I'm expecting answers like, well, they're obviously being paid off, or they're being threatened, or something like that. But if they're being paid off, then can you please explain why college dropouts don't consistently inherit money or win the lottery? And when it comes to the threat thing, like, if I talk about why I dropped out, my family's going to disappear, I'm going to be killed, how many times have people not used the excuse, I'm publishing this, I'm making a YouTube video about it, so that if I disappear, everyone will know why. If I disappear, that confirms everything. Talking means you are safe, because harming you after you talk will only prove that you're right. Okay, so it's safe to talk then. So why don't they? These are some questions that I think you haven't actually thought about. Maybe you have. And in that case, I'd actually like to hear your answers. Maybe in some cases these questions are, oh, that's a straw man. Okay, fine. But others you must have thought about. And I want to hear your answers. And I hope the answers are not stupid. Although, I suspect they are. See ya.